Welcome to the Mike Frederick Show, presented by Aria Health and 1490 WBCB. I'm Sean Lerman, along with head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Mike Frederick. Our final show this week as Neshaminy gets set to go into its final game of the season against Pennsylvania. But let's start by talking a little bit about last week's game against North Penn. Probably one of the best games that I've seen all season. It was very close at the end. Obviously, North Penn scored with 19 seconds left, but really a very well-played game by Neshaminy.
Yeah, very well played game on both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively. I thought if we had a weakness, it was the special teams. We gave up the big play on the punt block. We had a couple of other errors, predominantly on punt, that really impacted the outcome of the game. But it was one of those games that you look at and you could have picked one of any 25 plays and it could have changed the impact of the game. And those are great football games. You look at what you did wrong and how close you came, and then you look at what you did right. And for us, we really try to build off the positives. They played with great heart, great effort, and just couldn't be more proud of our guys.
We had the coaches roundtable on BCB last night. Dalton Fox and Cale Kitchman were out there with Neil French. And Neil was saying that no less than 7 players on the defensive side of the ball played their best game of the season against North Penn.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and that's what you want to see. I mean, as the season progresses, you want to see guys improve. Defensively, we just, we really played terrific football. It's one of those things that, you hope they continue to get better and play our best game this week.
As we look forward to next week, we'll look at the offense as well against North Penn. Mason Jones had another one of his typical games. He's been efficient. He's thrown over 1,000 yards on the season. How do you grade his performance in that North Penn game?
Mason, again, took care of the ball pretty well. One of the interceptions, we had an error on the route that was run, and we ended up sort of running another defender into a space that he shouldn't have been in. And then, the one I think we'd all like to get back is the interception there in the flat that gave them the ball inside our 25. And the kid made a really nice play on it. We thought we had that play, not just there, but throughout the course of the night, and they really did a good job of reading pass and dropping back and taking away that hitch route. So, again, he's on the season, he's got 9 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. I don't think he's got any fumbles. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards, pretty solid completion percentage in the upper 50s. So if we look at the whole body of work, Mason Jones has had a whale of a sophomore campaign.
DeAndre Pollard had another touchdown on a Wildcat play. That's not something we've really seen a lot of out of you guys this year. What was the thinking behind getting that Wildcat look into the offense?
Yeah, it's something that Neshaminy's run over the past few years. DeAndre is a talent that you want to get the football to, and you want to get him the football in a multitude of different looks as a receiver out of the backfield, in the types of Wildcat plays that you can run where you get an extra blocker. With the element of some surprise in that we left Mason on the field as a wideout during those particular plays. But the direct snaps to him and giving him the ball with the ability to read the defense in the holes from the get-go on the snap, he's done a really nice job. We probably should have used more of it throughout the year, just to get him more involved in different looks, different schemes. It gives the opposing defenses, again, something else they have to prepare for. So, just real pleased. He went over 1,200 yards in the season. On roughly 160 carries, so he's still averaging over 7 yards a carry. And you look at his numbers from last year with a senior-dominated line, senior tight end, senior fullback, and over 300 carries, a plus 15 games, and you say, wow, how has he compared this year to last year? And you can't really make an apples-to-apples comparison, but I tell you, he's played his heart out, and couldn't be more proud of him. He's been a great captain for us, and he should be really proud of himself. I know that the young teammates around him, the inexperienced guys, have really been pleased with how he's handled them getting up to speed, becoming better players, and being encouraging to them. And again, nothing but great respect for DeAndre, the player, and probably more so the person.
Now, you said all season that this isn't necessarily a young team, it's an inexperienced team, but I think in that North Penn game you saw a lot of players that at the beginning of this year were inexperienced, but now they're looking a lot more experienced. Are there any players that you've really seen some growth from over the course of the year?
Oh, quite a few. And we've played quite a few of younger players, but guys that didn't begin the year as starters. AJ Sanko at center makes a lot of the line calls on the interior side. He's just consistent as can be. Zach Treadway was not a starter at receiver when we began the season. He basically is our starting ex-receiver now, and had a really strong campaign. We're going to need a big game out of him on Friday night. Also on the offensive side of the ball, some first-year starters who got a lot of playing time last year, but the Bill Ritchies of the world. When he was out for a couple of weeks, it really hurt our ball club. Getting him back the last couple of weeks has made us more competitive. He did an amazing job holding up, really fighting in that alley, which North Penn really likes to take advantage of on Friday night. I'm not sure we have another guy in that position that would have held up as well. So having him in there really gave us a chance to win the football game. Dalton Fox has come on strong. The last couple of weeks has really played his heart out as far as younger guys are concerned. So Jack Spengler stepped in and taken over the starting corner job. So we've seen this progress throughout the course of 10 weeks that we probably have 4 or 5 new starters who weren't starters at the beginning of the season that are playing really well for us now.
One guy that was a starter at the beginning of the season and really started to come on at the end of last year was J.R. Stevens. Had that interception in the end zone against North Penn, a huge play. It almost looked like he baited the quarterback into that throw, but he had a beat on it the whole time.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, it looks like the intended receiver. I mean, he's running the route, got his head around. He almost had another one that was out of bounds, and ended up not catching the ball. But J.R.'s had a really, really terrific year. He's had 2 touchdowns for scores, which again is hard to do. I think he's got 5 on the year. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, I think, in the opener, and since then the fire's been lit, and he's elevated his game. And I think part of the help there was being able to take away some of the reps on offense, and that was part of that was Treadway stepping up and becoming a real weapon there, and then JR was obviously able to concentrate more of his efforts on defense and play with maybe more energy and aggression and more concentration. Has had a great year, and real proud of him.
A big matchup coming up this week against Pennsbury. We'll talk about that on the other side. You're watching The Mike Frederick Show, presented by Aria Health and 1490 WBCB.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
If you are looking for a car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go for the best deals in Bucks County for all your new pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs. Go to Faulkner Auto Group. It's always Faulkner, to be sure. Go online to faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, it's Faulkner, to be sure, for all your new cars or trucks. 4427 Street Road in Trevose. Faulkner, to be sure.
Welcome back to the Mike Frederick Show, presented by Aria Health and 1490 WBCB. I'm Sean Lerman, alongside head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Mike Frederick. Coach, big matchup against Pennsbury this week. There's a reason they put this one at the end of the season. How are the guys feeling going into the game?
Well, I think really, really well. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and they should be. We've got a lot to play for. It's one of these backyard rivalries where you get bragging rights for the year. It's you hope to see an extra hop in their step. When it comes to this week, I think we got off to a slow start earlier in the week. I think it was such a physical game Friday, and our guys put so much into it. that took a day or so to really recover. But yesterday we had a terrific practice. Sort of that hop was there, and I think we'll be ready to give them quite a challenge.
Pennsbury, Neshaminy, the big rivalry. You've played in that game a couple of times yourself. Do you have any memories of Pennsbury, Neshaminy from your time?
Oh, I sure do. Those are the games that they're going to take with them, and this is a game they'll remember, the seniors especially, for the rest of their lives. And I remember my senior year going over there and what that experience was like. It is truly, you want to play with games that have meaning. Depending on your records and how the season goes, the game last week had great meaning, and our guys gave great effort, and I think they should be really proud of their efforts there, and they'll take that memory with them. And then I think this is one where you throw the records out, and this is a game with great meaning no matter where the teams are in the standings, and we're really looking forward to the opportunity to play on Friday.
Last year, both Neshaminy and Pennsbury came into the game undefeated. Pennsbury ended up with a pretty big win. Talking to Cale Kitchenman at the Coaches Roundtable show last night, he said that he is really excited to be out there. He's been in the program for his whole time now, and now as a senior, getting out on the field against Pennsbury, looking forward to a big game. Now, everyone knows Pennsbury likes to run the ball. They're not going to throw the ball 25 times a game. So how do you get the guys ready when you know that Pennsbury's plan is just going to be to kind of run it down the middle just about every time?
Yeah, Pennsbury has a little bit of a different wrinkle this year in that they have a tall lefty quarterback who can throw the ball. He can run it, he can throw it. At this point, we know that predominantly they've got the three backs that are talented. We're going to have to do our very best to stop the run. Now, this is a unique Pennsbury team in that they can beat you in more than one way. Now, our staff is very familiar with them. Most of the guys have been coaching against them, and Coach Schneider in particular, for the better part of 15 years or more. This will be another one of those games we talked about last week where we'll know the plays, they'll know our plays, and it's going to be who wants it more, who executes better, who finishes off plays, who gives the best effort that comes away with a victory.
You mentioned their quarterback, Mike Alley, the transfer from Conwell Egan, had a big game last week in their win over CB South. That passing game certainly is something that they've added. Now, does that change as far as how you prepare with looking at film a little bit differently this year, or maybe kind of throw out the last few years out the window and you're focusing more on just what they've done the last few weeks?
No, it's at the end of the day, it's going to come down to if you can't stop their running game, it's not going to matter what they can do in the passing game. And they've got, they really have a trio of backs who are exceptionally talented. One's a Division I commitment, and their line's big, the biggest line we'll see all year. They've got a couple of players on that line that we certainly think are a couple of the best linemen we've seen all year. So there's quite a challenge there. We're going in with the same mindset, which is, right, this is as if you're playing in your backyard. The kids you're playing against, and you're going to have to stop the run. If we don't stop the run, we'll struggle. Once you show that you've come prepared and you can shut down some of the running plays, the added dimension is, we're gonna make them have to put it up and beat us throwing the ball. In years past, I don't think maybe they've had quite the threats throwing the ball as they do this year. So, complete offensive football team. We're playing our best defensive football. So, let's do it. This is why you get into high school sports. This is why you want to coach in this area and be in one of the best leagues in the state, arguably in the country, and two good football teams, two teams ready to go. It should be going.
On the other side of the football, what are some looks you expect to see from Pennsbury defensively?
Yeah, they do a nice job. They give us a little bit different wrinkle than we've seen historically. You get a 4-4 look, but it's got a little bit of an inversion to it in the back end, and their linebackers really play downhill and play hard, and are kind of run first guys, and they'll make it difficult to run a couple of our plays that are off tackle type plays. We're still going to run them. We can still block it, but our guys need to know that there's going to be a physical force there to be reckoned with. Again, these games historically have tended to be, low scoring affairs. And our hope is that we can, again, keep it a low scoring game. I think there's some things we feel we have the opportunity to take advantage of with their defense, but I got to tell you, it's a solid unit. They know what they're doing. They're usually where they're supposed to be. Well coached team, and it's one of those things that we're going to have to execute to score points. We're going to need points in the red zone. We're going to have to convert touchdowns, not field goals. And ultimately, we'd like long drives on offense and keep their potent offense off the field.
A big final game of the season against Pennsbury. The Redskins and the Falcons will go at it. Coach, the final game of your first season. This is our final show, so maybe reflect back a little bit. Are there any big things that maybe you felt like you learned over the course of your first season coaching high school football?
Yeah, as the head coach, I mean, it's a very demanding thing, and I've made some mistakes, and we know our kids won't be perfect, and we know they'll make mistakes, but we've asked them to make them full speed ahead, and I've tried to be a man of my word on that front, and I've made mistakes, and I've tried to make them full speed ahead, and many things I would have done differently, and I think that's why when you look at the experience of the head coaches in this league, you can't undervalue that. Things we learned, moving guys into different positions at earlier times, knowing that there's certain things you have to take advantage of, and if you don't execute them, you're going to have a hard time winning. Emphasis on special teams. It's countless. Even things like timeouts and how you manage certain clock situations, where you feel comfortable with the range of your field goal kicker, and these are things that are very different on the high school level. And when you're the head coach, you're ultimately responsible for it. So we can look back and say, yeah, it's been a good year. I think our guys are disappointed with the current record. I think we had a couple games we'd certainly like to have back, and if we played a couple of those teams right now, I think we'd be in much better shape. But that again is something we'll have to address heading forward, how we can get the team sort of further along quicker in the year. And again, that all rests with me, and I don't shy away from that. I look forward to the challenge of doing a better job next year.
All right, Coach. Well, it's been a pleasure doing the show with you this year. Good luck this weekend against Pennsbury.
Thank you, sir.
That'll do it for the Mike Frederick Show, presented by ARIA Health and 1490 WBCB. Big game, Pennsbury and Neshaminy on the WBCB Sports Network. Also video streamed at WBCB1490.com. Have a good one.